thanks for joining us on the Extra Point Show. First of all, just want to start off by apologizing that we didn't have a show the last couple weeks. Got kind of busy and stuff, but we do want to regularly bring you guys a more consistent, regular weekly product. So sorry about that.
Yeah, had some things crossed, but things are worked out better now, so should be good here in the future.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, some of the most, the most breaking news over the last couple weeks and biggest stories, of course, starting with the fact that Jon Gruden
Chucky.
resigning. Yeah, Chucky no longer being the coach in Las Vegas, officially having to resign amongst
Resign. I
yeah,
mean,
resign slash step down slash get fired slash
pretty much got fired if you
yeah.
ask me. But I know they said he's resigned, but like, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Jon Gruden was fired over comments that definitely went back. They said about 10 years, and the thing about that was Jon Gruden was the guy that Mark Davis, the son of Al Davis, wanted to hire ever since he left the Raiders the first time back when they were in Oakland for Tampa Bay. So this was a really big hire a few years back. I mean, everybody knows that they gave Gruden a huge 10-year, $100 million contract. So on that contract, Gruden was still owed about $40 million. They're believed that Gruden and the Raiders are going to reach a settlement. So obviously Gruden won't get all of that money. He'll be paid, a portion of that, whatever that may be. And special teams coach Rich Bisaccia has taken over in Las Vegas, and since the Raiders have actually gone 2-0, so they're currently standing at 5-2, which is currently top in the division with the way that the Chiefs have been struggling.
That seems odd that they would pick the special teams coach to take over as head coach.
Yeah,
is that a normal thing? Like
it is in some cases. So it's interesting that we're talking about that. So in the case of the special teams coaches and the appeal that they have, and they don't get hired as head coaches often, but a lot of times they are used for interim head coaching jobs. Um, Special teams coaches are often working with offensive and defensive players on the return units and coverage units. So a lot of times they know the entire team, so they know the personnel pretty
oh,
well.
okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
rather than like an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator just work, or even like a positions coach, like a safeties coach just working with safeties, or linebackers coach just working
Yeah.
with linebackers. Special teams coaches kind of work with like players of different positions. The most famous special teams coach of record to that's actually coaching right now. Well, Bill Belichick was the special teams coach for a while, and most notably, the guy that was actually hired as a special teams coach was John Harbaugh for the Ravens. He was the
Oh
Eagles special
wow.
teams coach. So in some cases it has happened and it's been successful. Obviously, it's worked out well for the Ravens. But yeah, special teams coaches they don't get a lot of opportunities. But obviously, Rich Bisaccia 2-0 might have an opportunity if he keeps winning to earn the full time job.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and the quote that Jon Gruden, we put it up on the screen a little bit earlier, that he had towards the head of NFL player personnel, DeMaurice Smith. That's what he got fired for. Apparently there were, or had to resign for. Apparently there were several other emails. Um, this was all done as part of a an investigation into the Washington football team that Gruden
Yeah.
had sent to former
Uh,
Washington executive Bruce Allen. So definitely not something entirely organizational. It seemed like these were just going to Bruce Allen specifically, from what we can
yeah,
tell.
but
But yeah,
yeah,
still not great. And
not great.
obviously the NFL has not released full details of everything that is
Yeah,
out.
and there's been talk going around about like that the Washington should release more information about that investigation. Like I remember seeing things about Congress or something trying to
Yeah.
get involved, and it's like really.
It makes me wonder who else like they're covering up for. Like maybe there's something where maybe Goodell could get in some trouble or something. because yeah,
Maybe.
yeah,
If that's the case, he's not going to let that shit
no,
happen.
absolutely not. Absolutely. I almost feel like, and I'm not saying what Gruden said was good or anything, but I almost feel like in this situation, Gruden, like somebody had to take the fall. And unfortunately, in Jon Gruden's case, it seemed to be him, and he was the fall man. And
Yeah.
because even Mark Davis, the Raiders owner, was like, the NFL knew about these emails for months, and they decide 5 games into the season when the Raiders are 3-2 to bring this up to Jon Gruden. I was like, so he was mad about the timing. He's like, you couldn't have waited until the end of the season, or even before we started playing games.
Yeah,
So 5 games
absolutely.
into the season. So I think Mark Davis has a legitimate gripe to be pissed off about that. But
And the fact that, like, this was 10 years ago, and it's like, maybe the things he said weren't exactly, the most sensitive things. And I mean, if you have a sense of humor, you can find them to be funny and not be like racist or whatever. But I don't know. I think people getting fired and stuff for things that 10 years ago, it's like, really?
yeah, and especially this coming right off the tails of the Urban Meyer situation that we just
Right.
discussed on the
Yeah. And
last
he's
show.
fine, right? He
Yeah,
put his thing, I'm not gonna say it, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I mean, like obviously, this is
that's
a different
worse,
situation. Yeah,
honestly. Like,
yeah. And at the time, Gruden wasn't the coach of the Raiders. He was an analyst for Monday Night Football, so he wasn't like affiliated with an NFL team.
right.
So, but we'll end up seeing if I mean, man has a winning record across the NFL. So we'll have to see if at any point in a couple years down the road he ends up getting another opportunity after this kind of blows over. I think he's about 58, so who knows if he'd even want another one. He's probably getting close to that retirement age.
Yeah, we'll look at Pete Carroll. He's like 70.
Pete Carroll is 70, yeah, yeah, and he's still going. He's still going
I think
strong.
Andy Reid's pretty old too. I think he's like 68. Bill
Yeah,
Belichick's up there too.
Bill Belichick and Pete are the oldest coaches in the NFL. I
Yeah.
think they're both 70, but yeah, they're also two of the best though. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and then in other news, it's been a couple of big weeks for Aaron Rodgers. Two or actually it's been a little bit over now. But a few weeks back, he moved into fifth place all time with 422 touchdown passes. When they played the Bengals and beat Cincinnati in a 25-22 game. So that's pretty significant. Now, interestingly enough, he's in fifth place now. Fourth place is currently occupied by Brett Favre, his former teammate, with 508. So he's about 90, 80, 85, 90 away from there
Well,
now.
but wait. This is what time? When did you write this though? It's been a few more games, right? So
Yeah, yeah, it
he's that
has.
much closer. He's probably at least 8, 6, 8, 10
That's why
more.
I'm
I don't know.
saying probably about 85 now. He probably needs about 85 now to get to where Favre is. But I think that at his pace he'll probably get there because I think he's definitely going to play a few more seasons. And then a few weeks later, when they were playing the Bears in their big rivalry, it's always a big deal when the Packers and the Bears play.
Hmm.
Chicago pulled out a 24-14 win over the Bears, and after scoring the go-ahead touchdown on a 6-yard run, Aaron was did you see that when he shouted into the crowd? I own you at the Bears fan. I still own you.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. So like he scores on a 6-yard scramble, right? The game's 17-14 at the time. So the touchdown puts Green Bay up 24-14. Um, and then yeah, I guess like they asked Aaron about it after the game, and he's like sometimes on the field, you black out. Like he's like sometimes on the field you black out like in a good way. Um, he's like, but I looked up in the stands and in the front row, I saw a woman was giving me the double bird. So not exactly what came out of my mouth next, but yeah, he said, I own you, I still own you. And actually, there's a version where he's like, I fucking own you, I still own you. So like yeah.
Nice.
So and it's uh it's hard to argue the man's point as that win brought Aaron to 22 and 5 all time against the Bears. They're the Packers' biggest rival, including the playoffs. So it's hard to argue.
Yeah,
Hard to argue with
he
that
kind of
fact.
does.
Yeah. Not only that, but I know, yeah, I love the stats. He's got 107.2 quarterback rating against the Bears, which is the best against
Damn.
them all time. Like of all the quarterbacks that have ever played the Bears, Aaron Rodgers, best quarterback rating against them ever.
He just destroys them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got 55 touchdowns against him as well. So
Jesus.
yeah, so. And then the Packers have, they stopped Arizona's momentum, since I wrote that as well. The other night on Thursday Night
Yeah,
Football with
that
a
was nice.
24-21 win. That was nice to see. Looking like Arizona might not lose, but
I know, right? I wasn't
Green Bay
sure, but
Green Bay knocking them back down to earth. So that was nice to see. And then there's been speculation that as we are now 2 days, it's Halloween. Happy Halloween, by the way, everybody. That we're 2 days away from the November 2nd trade deadline. That Deshaun Watson could be traded, and obviously there's really only been one team that they're talking about him maybe going to, and that's been Miami right now. Um, Obviously, it's been discussed on the show before that that the Texans were looking for upwards of 3 first-round picks for Watson, and Miami obviously trying to lessen the blow and reduce that a little bit, especially with the unknown legal situation with Deshaun. We
yeah,
really
that's
don't know.
way too much of a gamble. I
Yeah,
mean, three
for
first round picks, like,
yeah. So as of right now, he's not on the commissioner's exempt list. So if he did get traded, he'd be able to play. Right now, he's not playing because he's under any punishment. He's just playing because he's basically just quit on Houston. So
right.
yeah, so if he got traded, he could basically suit up and play as soon as he knows the offense well enough to go out there. So if that deal happens, obviously Miami's the favorite for that, and Miami did just drop their 7th straight game today to go to 1-7 on the season with the combination of Tua and Jacoby Brissett starting. It hasn't been pretty for the Dolphins.
No,
So
that's, and they did pretty good last year.
they were 10-6 last year under
Yeah,
Brian
like
Flores, same
they did
coach.
really good last year, actually. I mean, compared to now. Although you
They,
might be able to say same things about Washington,
they,
depending
they
on how
only
the
missed
rest of the season goes.
yeah. Yeah, they only missed the playoffs because there were a couple other teams due to seeding in the AFC, but they were a playoff caliber team last year. And now
Yeah.
they are definitely not. Now they're having some struggles. Same coaching staff, same everything. So you would think that it would be pretty similar, but it has not been to this
Yeah, the
point.
one
So
part of the Deshaun Watson thing that I don't like is the part, the 3-team trade possibility that
yeah,
involves them. Like, I don't I don't want Tua. If they're like, no, we don't want Tua, he's
yeah.
not our starting quarterback. Why the hell would we want him? Like,
He hasn't looked great to this point. I mean, the only advantage that Tua has, and this is not. I mean, this is just literally the only advantage he has, and I'm not saying that they should do it. But the only advantage Tua has over anybody on the Washington roster is he's younger. I mean, and that's it. Like he's not better, he's just younger. Like so if
yeah.
you're just trying, but you're trying to upgrade the position. You're not trying to get younger at the position. It's like so I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't think,
No.
and I've gone on record of saying, and this is no offense to Tua because I'm sure he's a fine person, but I just don't think he's going to be an NFL caliber starting quarterback. I think he might be a fine backup,
Yeah.
but I just don't see it. And I mean, I think that he started 9 games last season. He started 4 or 5 this season so far, and he's looked good in a couple, but for the most part, it's been struggles. And I mean, they lost to Buffalo today, 26 to 11, so they weren't exactly generating a lot of offense with him in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd be very interested to see that. I don't know that Ron would want to necessarily, but because here's the thing: at this point, Ron hasn't he hasn't pulled the hook on Taylor Heineke in 7 games. So I don't think he would like necessarily. I mean, if he would have gone to Kyle Allen already, I would have thought that Ron was in a lot more panic at the quarterback position. Like I don't think he's ready to sell the farm for Tua.
They already know. They know
No.
what Kyle Allen
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
and Taylor. I mean, giving I don't know, putting him out there a little bit more, but well, I'm gonna get into that more later.
yeah, yeah. For sure, we will. We will. I'm just saying that I thought that if they were really and rumors happen all the time in the NFL. There's rumors on a daily basis, but
Yeah, I'm gonna say that one three team trade rumor that was like not a very solidly. Didn't sound like that
yeah,
legit. Like I remember it being kind of a.
yeah. And as we get closer to the trade deadline here, then we've only got, like I said, 2 more days, and once that passes, if he's going to be traded, it's not going to be until the off season.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then as far as other things that happened in the NFL today, anything that you want to discuss from the games that you saw today that you found interesting. I was definitely surprised to see the Seahawks whoop the Jaguars' asses after they got their first win a couple seasons ago or a couple weeks
You were
ago.
surprised to see the Seahawks beat them?
Yeah, because
Really?
I was surprised to see them win 31-7 because Geno Smith.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
not
By
Russell.
that much,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not Russell Wilson in there starting. And
Okay,
I mean, this is a Seahawks team that just lost 13-10 on Monday Night Football last week to the Saints with Geno in
but
there. So
that's the Saints, and
yeah,
this is the Jaguars. So
yeah. The Jaguars I still thought would show a little bit more something. They're coming off a bye and they just won a couple weeks ago. But yeah,
mhm.
who knows? They definitely laid an egg today. But
Yeah, the game, other game I saw somewhat firsthand, the Buccaneers game, since I'm near Tampa and I was in Tampa today, and it was on the TV behind the Redskins game. So saw that, and when I first saw the score, I think it was like 2-7 or some shit, Saints, and I was like, oh shit,
yeah,
like oh no, and then they start coming back. It was like 27-26 at one point, and
mhm,
then the Saints just Tom Brady threw that interception, and it was
yeah,
done. I was like, Tom, what are you doing?
yeah.
Like, oh.
Well, I mean, he was doing like the is like I saw that too. I saw when it was 16-7, and I was like, oh shit,
I thought it
because
was 22-7 at one point, wasn't it? I
it
thought they
it,
got up over 20.
it
I
might
didn't
have,
see it. I
yeah,
wasn't watching it firsthand. I could be wrong, but
it might have been. I'm not exactly sure because I was watching one of the other games at that point. But
you're probably watching the Washington game. It's on at the
yeah,
same time.
yeah, exactly. So um, but yeah, like that. This happened last year too when they played the first time, and the Saints like they killed Tampa Bay. I want to say like 38-3. Like this was like one of the first games last season, like one of Tom's first starts in Tampa, and they got destroyed. And it seemed like that was going to happen again with how the game was starting. Like 16-7,
Yeah,
20
that's
to
what
7.
I thought.
I was like, oh shit, they're going to get killed again. I was like,
Yeah.
the Saints are like Buccaneers kryptonite. Like they can beat everybody, but the Saints or whatever. Although I will remind you that in the playoffs, Tom Brady did knock off the Saints in Drew Brees' final retirement game. So even though the Saints beat the
Yeah.
Buccaneers in both regular season games when it mattered, and Tom Brady, it's hard to get him in December and January. You know that it's hard. It's as it gets later into the year, that motherfucker
Yeah.
just gets better. But yeah, so I thought it was going to be a blowout as well. And then like I was like, oh, okay, the Saints are, maybe they're for real because they're kind of off and on this season. But yeah, all of a sudden they start coming back, and it's looking like Tom Brady's starting to do his thing. We're
Yep.
starting to lead the comeback all the
I
way.
thought I thought it was he was coming back, and then nope,
Yeah,
nope, not this time, Tom.
yeah,
He's not. He is human.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he still did throw 4 touchdowns in that game. I believe.
Oh,
I
he had
want
a
to say,
good
yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah,
No, there's no doubt about that. It's just, he happened to throw a
yeah,
really bad. It wasn't even like a bad pick. It
yeah.
was just he happened to get a pick at that time, and that was a bad time for it. But I mean, even when he throws a pick, like the other one, I remember he threw like straight. It looked like he threw straight to the guy, but like you could just see kind of what he was seeing. And it's not like some, less experienced quarterbacks when they throw a pick where it's just like egregiously obvious. You're like, why the hell would you put the
Yeah.
ball there? But when he gets picked off, generally the defender has to make some kind of an effort or a play.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not usually that easy. Like, you know what I mean? He can fit it in a little
Yeah.
better than most.
Yeah. He's pretty good. He's pretty good, and he almost got him. Like if he didn't throw that interception that got returned, I mean they had a
Yeah.
shot today, and definitely it was a close game, but I mean they have the Saints one more time this season, and also notable about that is I don't know if you also saw, but Jameis went out of the game with that really bad looking ankle foot injury, like his leg
Yeah, they
got like
had Taysom Hill in,
no,
right?
it wasn't Taysom Hill. It was Trevor Simeon, their other backup, because
Oh shit.
Taysom Hill is either out with a concussion or they were saving him for the special Taysom Hill, because you can't use him in the special Taysom Hill packages. Like he's
Right.
your starter, So like, and they experimented him with him being the starter last year a little bit, and it just wasn't it
Yeah,
wasn't that
didn't work
great.
out.
Yeah. So um, but yeah, no, it was Trevor Simeon, former Denver Bronco Trevor Simeon. So that's what I
Hmm.
was gonna say. I was surprised that they got the win, but they
Yeah.
definitely rode the defense and
Man, I thought it was Taysom Hill doing it. Like, I mean, I like him. I don't know why. I've never really liked the Saints, but I like Taysom Hill.
yeah, we'll have to see how long Jameis is out or what their quarterback situation is, and
Yeah.
yeah, because that is interesting. I don't actually know if
The only other interesting game that
yeah
I saw today was, or I guess the outcome, didn't see much of it, but the Jets beat the Bengals.
yeah I
Jets
was
got
gonna mention
themselves another win,
Salah got us up. Hold on.
And off we go.
Yep.
and off we go.
Off we go. Salah got his second win. I was just gonna pull something up here. I hate when the website does that. That shit's
Yeah.
annoying. Um, yeah, I don't think. I think he might still have his concussion.
Oh, oh, really? Okay. I
Yeah,
actually I just remembered there's the one other game which I hate to mention, but the
yeah,
Eagles and the Lions,
yeah.
44-6. Like I know the Lions aren't very good, but neither are the Eagles, man. And how did they get 44 points? I didn't see any of the game,
Yeah,
but just I heard like when I was at the bar, one of the other guys told me, he was like,
yeah,
yeah, here the Eagles got 44 points today. I was like, what
yeah,
the fuck?
yeah,
Not good. Not
yeah.
good.
It's not been good. It's not been good, and yeah, it's definitely frustrating because especially when you're in a fucking losing streak like that yourself, and then the Eagles just come out there. Although, yeah, I mean the Lions, you know, if you had them as an opponent, you'd probably win as well with how things have been going. They're currently 0-8. I feel bad for Dan Campbell. I mean, he took on like the job he took on. It's a hell of a job to take on. It's a hell of an undertaking. But
losing like you had Matt Stafford. Now you don't even have
did
him.
you did you see the?
So
I wanted to mention this to you in general. Did you see the other day when like it seemed like they had the Vikings beat, and then like the Vikings came and like kicked a field goal and beat them 19-17, but it seemed like they were going to get their first win, and then like after the game, like Dan Campbell was like he wasn't like but like his eyes were like he was tearing, like you could tell like the man was like he was so close to getting his first win and he was just robbed, and then today they weren't close at all to getting the win in that one.
that does suck. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
mean to laugh like that, but for some reason that was like I feel because he
I
looks
mean,
like I mean like I said before, he looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin. He just looks like a mean motherfucker. Like just imagine him
oh,
all
he's
sad.
he's
It's
hard.
like
He's hard as hell.
and
It
he
doesn't. There's a lot of emotion in this game, bud. Like they literally they kicked the game winner.
oh, you
Like
know who else is feeling like that too? I mean, not firsthand, but Pat McAfee is probably
mm,
or McAfee is probably not feeling too good after losing in overtime. Colts losing.
yeah,
Did you see that one?
yeah, yeah. I am. Well, I didn't see it specifically, but I saw that I saw that the Colts had like the best recipe for Derrick Henry all season. Like they held him to like 68 yards and no touchdowns,
Oh
but
wow,
they still lost the game. Yeah, Derrick Henry, who's been going off on everybody, like leads the NFL in rushing yards by like
by
300
a
yards.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, like a
yeah,
shitload.
yeah. I looked at it the other day. It's ridiculous. And
Yeah,
yeah, they neutralized him, but they still lost the game. in
That
overtime.
was a
Like,
really close
yeah,
game. I saw that on one of the TVs in
yeah,
there. I think I saw the overtime
yeah,
kick like right as it happened.
yeah.
I was like, oh shit. Like Titans won.
That game sums up what a divisional game is. Like you've got the Titans who were 4-2, and then the the 3-4 Colts. And obviously the Titans, you're expecting them to like be a lot better, and
Hmm.
they still got the win, but that's a divisional game for you. You know, right down to the wire. Those two teams know each other. You know, 35,
Hmm.
32. Hell of a game. Hell of a game. But yeah, that was good. And yeah, like to touch on what you said, I was happy to see, really surprised to see Salah get his second win. Because if you think about who the Jets have beaten, they've lost to some shitty teams in their losses.
Yeah.
But they've beaten the Titans, who are probably a playoff team, and they've beaten the Bengals, who actually look like they might be a playoff team at 5-3 this year.
Hmm.
So it's like, so Salah, and how many games did the Jets win last year? Was it one or two? It
It was
wasn't more than
one or
two.
two. I think it was two.
Okay, so
Because
Salah's already won as many games.
Jacksonville was the only one with one win,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Salah's already got as many wins as Adam Gase did
He's
in.
already keeping his job for at least
Yeah.
one more season.
Yeah. I mean, I think you got to give that man time. And they
Oh, also
fucking.
the score to that game, the Jets, it was 34-31. It wasn't 35-32. 34-31.
Oh, okay.
Was that the one you were talking about?
The what? What? Which one?
The Jets and the Bengals game?
No, I was talking about the Colts Titans game.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
it was.
34-31.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're both 34-31. How weird. That's
Oh,
why I got
okay.
confused. I was looking at them here and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's weird. They both ended in that same score. Huh.
Yeah, all right. That's what I knew it was something like that. I didn't have it up directly. Also relevant, which you didn't mention, the Patriots getting the upset 27-24 over the Chargers and Justin Herbert, which was
Oh
shocking.
yeah.
So Bills now 4-4 with Mac Jones on the season. So
Wonder how
might
that Cowboys Vikings game looks. It says 13-13 here,
13-13,
so
yeah.
still yeah.
Yeah. Following up to the minute. We got the can't show you any highlights because that'd be illegal by the NFL. So we're just gonna live look in here. 13-13 game. Seeing what happens. Oh, it's already the fourth quarter. Is that
Yeah.
accurate? Wow,
Yes, it is.
good. That Cowboys offense looks a whole lot different without Dak in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Love it. Love it.
yeah.
Hope Vikings. Hope Kirk's cousin can come out and make a win
Oh man, Kirk's
for the
cousin.
Vikings.
You know, Kirk's cousin right now is once again unanimously loved by all Redskins nation. Like I know a lot of them love him anyway, but
Yeah, right now, absolutely. Absolutely.
right now they're united, and they're like, oh Kirk, we loved you this whole time. We always knew you had it in you.
Man, I would take Kirk back right now in a fucking goddamn heartbeat.
Apparently Kyle would have too back in 2007. That's the rumor.
Oh
Remember?
boy, another Kirk Cousins about Mac Jones,
Yeah, yeah. I know I've told you about that, right? Where Kyle was basically waiting until the end of the 2017 season for Kirk to become a free agent and sign him. And then John Lynch was like, hey, like midway through the 2017 season, he's like, hey, let's send a number 2 pick to New England for Jimmy. And apparently Kyle was pissed at first because Kyle wanted to wait until the offseason to get Kirk. But I think it worked out better. I mean, Kirk hasn't been to any Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, and honestly, what's interesting about that is the Vikings didn't even let Kirk become a free agent. So, I mean, it wouldn't have worked out anyway
Yep.
because they locked him up for big money. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting to see some of the games today. There were definitely what was the other game I was gonna mention? Let's see.
That's the only other one that I don't see any other ones that I mean, the Rams won against the Texans, but that's not surprising. The Steelers
Yeah,
beat the Browns. That's
Yeah.
probably the only other
Yeah,
one that,
I was gonna mention that's what I was getting, the Steelers and the Browns. So in the
or the
Steelers,
Packers and the Cardinals. We mentioned that, right?
yeah,
We
yeah,
had to mention
we
that.
did talk
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, them ending the Cardinals undefeated
Yeah,
streak.
that's like probably the biggest one I
Yeah,
would say is probably
yeah,
that one, just because
that's
they
huge.
knocked
That's
them
huge.
out, or knocked
And
their first win or loss. Sorry.
yeah, yeah, and I remember going into that thinking that, and obviously I'm not always right, but I just know that like with the way that teams play, sometimes like I feel like one team would match up really well against another team. And just the way that Green Bay is, I knew that they were going to give Arizona problems and that they're probably like a better team on paper. And Arizona hasn't had to play anybody like Aaron Rodgers yet. I mean, we almost beat him with Trey Lance, 17-10. So, I mean, Aaron went out there and did work. And it didn't help that Kyler, who's been having a really good season, threw 2 interceptions. Really,
Yeah, that's probably big part of the loss there.
yeah, definitely can't do that. Usually the team that wins the turnover battle is gonna win the game, so definitely
Yeah.
doesn't help your situation.
What's up, Redskins fans? Welcome to this week's edition of the Redskins Rundown. Sorry that we missed a couple weeks, but we'll be on every week now from now on. Unfortunately, the last few weeks have not been great. The 4-game losing streak heading into the bye week. So came up short against Denver today. Biggest thing I think to talk about is the kicking issue. I mean, we cut Dustin Hopkins, which really doesn't seem like the right call when you're picking up, Chris Blewett, who has the worst name possible, but also has no NFL experience. And then he's kicked 5 times now since he's been with us. 3 of those have been blocked.
Yeah.
I mean, that like he cannot get the ball high enough. He hit Wes Schweitzer in the back of his helmet with one of them, or it looked like it. It might have gotten hit by the defender also, but it's like, come on, man. And Dustin Hopkins makes his first like 52-yarder with the Chargers or something like that today.
Yeah. Yeah, that was rough, especially like when you consider the fact that like, I mean, a few of the ones that like I went out there like last time you were here and we went kicking, like a few of the ones I hit were like higher than that, and I haven't even kicked in like I haven't kicked in like I haven't kicked in 15 years. I was like shit. So I was like, if this guy's like in the NFL, I was like that's kind of a concern, because yeah, what you want to do in that situation when you're kicking on a longer kick, obviously you do need to drive the ball further.
Well, he does well on the longer kick. Like I was gonna say, he did
Right.
make the 52-yarder, and it seemed, and his kickoff, those were looked good. And that's like like you said earlier, it's probably only his best contribution is the fact that he kicked it off well.
Touchbacks. Yeah.
Yeah, so at least he could do that. But like he has the leg strength, I think. But he's driving it too low. I think he's used to trying to go for those really long field goals. I mean, he hasn't been in the NFL. It's probably what he did. He goes and just kicks long field goals for practice.
Yeah.
So he's not used to there being a line there to block his kick. So maybe he can work through that. Like I'm not ready to be like, oh, maybe they're going to cut him. I mean, well, who else are they going to get? Maybe it can be worked out. But at this point though, man, if 3 out of 5 are blocked, that is not good.
It's been a consistent issue.
Yeah, and Ron saying like he impressed him at wherever he saw him. It's like, really, he impressed you? Like what, kicking with no other team there?
Where did Ron get this kid from?
I don't even know. Like I honestly don't even know. It's like
well, I will tell you this, and I hate to be the bad news bear over here, but I did look, and Hopkins today made a 48-yard field goal and went 3 for 3 on extra points.
Yeah.
So Hopkins was 4 for 4 on his kicks for the Chargers today. So
yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, we should get rid of him. I probably even said it myself, but that also, that doesn't mean you just cut him. Like there has to be somebody else that you can bring in, and if there's not, then like don't cut him yet. Like he's not being as consistent, but like you gotta think about what you're gonna get once you get rid of somebody, and it seems like they didn't.
Yeah,
and he's helping the Chargers now, so
yeah, it's rough. I mean, it's an interesting thing. I mean, because like you said, who else are you gonna get? I mean, at this point, the new batch of kickers, at least really talented ones, really won't be around until free agency or the draft hits, and the new ones are coming out of college. Because right now, you're really maybe gonna pick up a guy off somebody's practice squad, but I mean, even Tristan Vizcaino, who was the Chargers kicker before they signed Hopkins, the Chargers just went and signed him back to their practice squad. So it's like
Mhm.
as like a backup for Hopkins. So I mean, who knows if that's really saying that they have a lot of confidence in Hopkins, but you know, that's
Yeah,
that's just a testament to the fact that there's really not a lot of kickers out there right now.
exactly. So, and I mean, this also ties into the next thing. It's like they're just wasting too many opportunities, and missing kicks is part of that. And just every time, I mean, we're moving the ball down the field, like every drive almost, and
Yeah,
it's like, and then nothing comes. It's just like last week against the Packers, the same kind of thing. That time we had over 100 more yards of offense against the Packers and still lost that game.
yeah,
Only got 10 points. And this week I think we had 70, 72 yards more than they did. So it's like, what's 71 yards more. So it's like, what if we're obviously moving the ball, things are going, but then once you
yeah.
get into the red zone, it just falls apart.
Yeah, and that's rough. And I think part of it has been penalties on some drives. They've had things that have stalled out due to penalties. They've also had situations where they haven't been able to convert third downs. And I want to say like recently, like they were like I don't know how it's gone since then, but they were like 7 out of 16 on fourth downs. I don't know if they've gone for it a few more and what the numbers are exactly, but I know that they weren't exactly you know
Well, they shouldn't. I mean, they've been going a lot of fourth downs and not getting it, but that's because they can't convert on third down.
right,
This is
right.
a terrible stat to have to mention, but it is truth. I read it. If
Yeah,
we're on track to have one of the worst records in the NFL of all
yeah.
history in that, and it's like,
Yeah, and I actually have it here. They're actually 8 out of 19, so less than 50% on the season on fourth down conversions. And by comparison, like their opponents,
what's the third down conversion rate? Because
third
that's
down, yeah, 34 out of
that's got to
90,
be.
34 out of 98, so about 30
Oh
something percent.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
rough. That's rough.
terrible. That's
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They,
Well, I
they,
mean, on a sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they have had an uptick recently in sacks. They had 4 today. They've got 19 total on the season. So one positive has been that at least the defensive line has been getting a little bit more pressure, and they haven't had any games where they've allowed over 30 points in a while. But um,
That's true.
def, definitely like you said,
Oh, and
really
a
a lot of.
really
Go ahead.
I would say a really bright spot on the defense, now at least, is Landon Collins.
Yeah,
Landon Collins was lighting it up today. That first hit that he got on the one guy, like, oh my God, like I thought he was gonna make him fumble it, and then
yeah.
he got that sack,
And
like
then he
seeing
got
him
and
get
then
a
he got
sack.
Teddy. Yeah, he came off the line quick and
Yeah.
got Teddy, and Teddy just was like didn't even know he was gonna be there. He was shocked. Yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
anyone expected him to
yeah,
be there. That was
yeah,
crazy. I was like, did he just get a sack? And then I think didn't he cause a fumble later in the game, or
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought, yeah,
I mean, Landon Collins has always had potential. He was getting beat a lot earlier in the season, but like that's because maybe safety's not his best assignment. You know, and
no, it's clearly not.
and Washington's so deep at safety. That's like one position where they've got like Cam Curl, they've got Bobby McCain, they've got enough other guys that they really don't need him to also be playing safety. And linebacker is a spot where Jamin Davis is still coming along, and besides Cole Holcomb, you really don't have a lot there. Bostic's out for the year,
Yeah,
so I mean you could definitely use him there. And his first game there pays immediate dividends and makes some plays, so that was good to see.
yeah. Unfortunately, there's even some more injuries. Chase Roulier, he
Mm,
got carted off. I guess they put an air cast on his leg to
yeah,
cart
that,
him
that
off.
that that
So
didn't look good.
that's not good. He's not coming back anytime
Yeah,
soon,
yeah,
and he's like the anchor.
yeah,
So I don't know what that's gonna mean. It's definitely not good. I mean, hopefully it's not as bad as it seems. But I think when they put an air cast on him and cart him off the field,
yeah, yeah,
dude's probably out for the rest of the season. I mean, it's week
yeah.
8,
I
so
would assume. Unfortunately, I don't. We
it's
don't.
looking like it's going to be a next year, next year kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're hoping not, and obviously, T's and P's to Mr. Chase Roulier, but yeah, definitely hoping that he can come back at some point and everything's all right. But yeah, I feel like didn't they had somebody else go down too, wasn't it? Was it Schweitzer or was it who was the other offensive lineman?
Oh, Eric Flowers.
Eric
Eric Flowers.
Flowers, that's who it was. Yeah,
It
Eric
was like in the
Flowers.
last minute of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah. So
Yeah, and
hopefully,
then we got Brandon Scherf out. So I
yeah,
mean, that's just really not not
They
looking
thought they
good.
thought that Scherf might be able to return this, so hopefully Scherf can be back by next week. Or don't they have the bye next
No,
week?
yeah, it's the bye, the Bucks
Okay,
game, which
so
yeah,
yeah.
I just got the did the plane shit for that. So
Oh, nice.
I'll be at that Bucks game to see them
Yeah,
lose. No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well,
Hopefully they don't.
yeah. Well, I mean, something that we've definitely got to talk about is about a week from now. Ron said that Fitz is going to have an MRI, so I don't know what that means in terms of him being able to return, but
Yeah,
potentially, you know, obviously, and this isn't all on Heineke. You know, Heineke has done a lot of good things. It's just right now the entire offense isn't clicking. You know,
no,
today they couldn't get McLaurin the ball. I feel like he had what, like 3 catches. You know,
yeah, he did not have much at all.
yeah, and he didn't have many more targets than that, so he was very limited. And obviously they've been without Logan Thomas. Ricky Seals Jones has stepped up and done some good things. And
Yeah, McLaurin had that's carries, not
yeah,
here
I
we
want to
go.
say
All
I
right,
want
yeah,
to say it was,
three receptions for
yeah,
23 yards. Yeah,
yeah,
so yeah,
yeah,
that's JD McKissick had all the yards, man. 83,
yeah,
8 catches. He
yeah,
had a good game, and then
yeah,
so did Jarrett Patterson. I hate to say it, but Jarrett Patterson looked better than Antonio Gibson every single play he was in there when Gibson
yeah.
was in.
Well,
Every single time.
I
Like
think,
Gibson might still be working with the injury. That's
yeah,
what I was thinking, and they need to just maybe let him rest. Patterson
and I
seems
think that was a good move. Yes, to give Jarrett Patterson the bigger workload and maybe let Antonio Gibson rest.
and McKissick, but I mean,
Yeah,
because yeah, he
yeah,
did a lot
yeah,
today. But
yeah. So I think, you know, like they said, you know, he's early in the season, Gibson was playing like 60% of the snaps. I think they said now he's playing like 35 or 40. So they are trying to rest that shin because you know,
that's
he is
good. Yeah,
hurt.
they
So
need to.
I mean, if they're gonna make a run late in the season, you know, they need him healthy. So
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that the coaching staff is gaining trust in Patterson, which he earned already, but he got a lot today. I think there was a time where he carried it like multiple downs in a row where it was just him, and no one else. So that's good.
yeah,
They feel like they can rely on him, and every time he got the ball, man, he got yards, even if it wasn't a ton. Instead of Gibson getting stopped at the with 1 yard gain, he might get 3, 4, 5. Like I think he had 11 for 46.
yeah,
Yeah, 11 carries for 46, and that works.
yeah, yeah. I
That
wish
works in
that
the
they would
NFL.
have run more with, because like that Heineke had 95 rushing yards, and I think in this game he had 1 carry for 10 yards. Like, you know, so I wish they would have, like, you know, let him, because I felt like if they would have done that, they could have moved the ball a little bit better. And it's not so much that they didn't move the ball, but you know, like you said, they turned the ball over on downs a few times. You know, they had a couple, you know, turnovers, which you can't do. Um,
Hmm.
the blocked kicks, or were
Yeah, the
there two?
block kicks really. I mean, that's
Yeah,
6 points right there. That they were, yeah, that's really, really, really tough. You're not going to win in the NFL if you don't
yeah,
have a reliable kicker. You're just not. If you're losing
yeah,
points like that, and then you can't capitalize when you get into the end zone. Like at the
yeah,
end of the game, it was rough. I mean, we had the chance to get in, but then just couldn't get anything. And then Heineke throws that ball in there, and it gets picked. It didn't really matter at
yeah,
that point, but
yeah. Well, it's a
yeah,
situation where, I mean, Ron passed up a field goal in the first half and decided to go for it. It would have been about a 45-yarder that they didn't try. And you know, at that point, it's because you obviously didn't have a lot of trust in Blewett. So I mean, obviously, if
yeah.
that would have been more of a consistent thing.
The
But yeah,
craziest part was definitely when they fumbled, when it was like 20
yeah,
something seconds left or whatever,
yeah,
and
yeah,
game's over, and all of a sudden Melvin Gordon fumbles the ball, and we're
yeah.
like, what? There's like
There's
21
hope.
seconds
There's
left,
hope.
and dude, I was like, there's actually hope, maybe,
Yeah,
but of course,
they just couldn't
they
execute
don't win.
offensively. They just couldn't put a good play together. It was just,
Yeah,
and I mean, it's just, again, it comes down to something that I wanted to mention here, is at this point, I mean, McLaurin's got 42 catches, and they were really relying on Curtis Samuel to be that number 2 option. Due
yeah,
to injuries to Curtis Samuel and Cam Sims, the receiver with the next highest catches is Adam Humphries. He's got 20. So that's 22 less catches than McLaurin has. So the biggest issue they had last season was they didn't have anybody that was like a consistent threat other than McLaurin, and that's kind of where they're at again at receiver. They do have McKissick, which is a big help, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean they need to get Logan Thomas back. They need to get Curtis Samuel back because Curtis Samuel's played in all of like a game and a half this season.
yeah,
He hasn't done much.
yeah. And I would say the best, I don't know, one of the best plays of the game, at least on the offense. I'd say on defense, probably Landon Collins' contributions today. He had some really good plays, but Heineke's touchdown pass to DeAndre Carter, that was
Yeah,
a very, very, very nice pass. It's
yeah, he
perfectly placed.
dropped it right in.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite plays on the offense of this game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean there are it's always shitty and frustrating to lose, but in this losing, one thing that you can say, from the perspective of a Washington fan is that at least in this, you're getting to see some young players get some playing time, in their rookie years. Like some players in recent weeks, like Dax Milne. There's been
Yeah,
John Bates, the
he got
backup
a catch
tight end.
today. Yeah,
Yeah,
John Bates
yeah.
got a catch today
John
actually.
Bates got his second catch of the season today. So yeah, John Bates has been getting some work recently. So I mean, it's been good to see. I mean, DeAndre Carter, who was like only a return guy, catching his first NFL touchdown today. So
Yeah,
really good to see. Really good to see. So I mean, and that's kind of where we were at last year with the Niners. It was just such a shitty season, but we had so many injuries that you got to see guys that never got to play get their first opportunities, and that was really cool. So in this, Curtis Samuel should obviously be the one in there getting those reps, but since he hasn't been getting to see some other guys get some opportunities.
yeah. Hopefully, yeah, some of the injured guys will come back.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we got the bye. The bye week really does come in a good time. There's a lot of O line injuries and existing injuries. So hopefully this extra will at least give us some people back. I mean, I know
Yeah.
some of them aren't coming back, but
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we got the bye week, so everyone hopefully they get rested up and
Yep.
beat the Bucks like we didn't last year. We got so close, but
Yeah.
it'd be nice to be one of the few teams that actually beats them. Especially because I'm going to be at that one in person, so
Yep.
that's really nice. It'd be nice to see a win. I feel like that's a kind of a poor choice of a game to go and travel to, but opportunity came, so I'm taking it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you'll get to see them play like the best possible team or one of the.
And yeah, I'll get to see Tom Brady because I mean, even though I live here, near Tampa, it's like I haven't been to a Bucks game, but so it's very ironic. I'm going to see the Bucks play up in Maryland. It's just
Yeah.
strange.
Nice. Oh yeah. Hopefully it's a good game.
Hopefully it is, and then yeah, talk about it after. Hopefully it's. I think it'll at least be good. I mean, just being there in person, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it, even if it's not a win. I mean, I really don't expect it to be a win. So if it is, awesome. But
Yeah.
I'll go in there with a level of expectations.
Well, you got to start the win streak somewhere. You got to start with one.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, yep. Join us. I guess it'll be 2 weeks for the Redskins rundown. So nothing next week, and then after the Bucks game, we'll see you then.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess if anything like notable happens within the week, we can cover it briefly. But yeah, definitely no game this week. So
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything other team news that might be worth mentioning, definitely.
for sure. Hey, thanks for joining us this week on the weekly Niners news update. Sorry we missed the last couple weeks. So just kind of briefly get into how the Niners have been playing recently and kind of what's been going on. We are coming off of a big win today to end the 4-game losing streak against Chicago, 33-22. It was a game that looked like it was going to be more of the same in the first half when we trailed 13-9, but definitely able to really turn it on in the second half and get things going. But
Yeah,
yeah,
especially the fourth quarter, 18 points, man.
yeah, that was really nice. I mean, we definitely needed it. Last couple weeks offensively, that's what I wanted to get into. Our offense has struggled, and we've had a lot of struggles on both the offensive side and defensive side of the ball. I would say that our defense has played better, but than our offense. But the defense has been penalized a lot, especially now leading the league with the most defensive pass interference calls in the NFL. even
Mm,
more than Tampa. Now we have, I believe it was 12. Although in today's game we had none, so it was good to see the adjustments that the coaches made in practice pay off. So definitely good to see that. Um,
definitely.
and also,
Oh yeah, and Jimmy, he won in his near his hometown.
yeah, yeah, it was Jimmy's return, and also the 4-year anniversary of Jimmy making his first start ever as the Niners quarterback, which was also in Chicago, when the Niners won 15-14. So they also won, which this game, which was huge. Ending that losing streak was definitely notable. The offense had come in last week, in the rainstorm against the Colts. We had scored 18 points and struggled offensively. Really, outside the first quarter, we'd scored 12 points in the first quarter, and then really didn't do much until, you know touchdown in the fourth quarter to Debo. But it was a lot of struggles in that game. Obviously, the weather played a big part in it, but
Yeah,
nobody had.
that game sucked, man. I
Yeah,
mean, everybody was making mistakes, but it's that weather.
yeah. It was really hard to watch that game at times. Definitely watched a lot of players lose their footing. They said that the field was still in relatively good shape, but Jimmy had a couple of interceptions in that game. One that like went up right off Debo's hands and into the hands of the defender. So that was pretty bad. And then there were a couple fumbles as well. I think all in all in the Colts game, the Niners had 4 turnovers. We scored 18 points, but the week before that, when we played Arizona and Trey Lance started, we lost 17-10. So the offense has been struggling recently. We haven't scored over 20 points in the last couple weeks, but today we were able to score 33. So that was really nice. Definitely able to get the offense back on track now. Notable things to talk about in that Arizona game as well. With Trey Lance getting his first start, he was 15 for 29 with 192 yards, no touchdowns, and one pick. And in kind of an unusual game plan, they had it designed for him to run the ball 16 times. So that was a little bit unusual. You don't usually see the quarterback run the ball that often, but
And it's
um,
because his throws aren't that great. I feel like so they're like, nah, just let him run. But he looks like he's getting better though with time. I mean, like the first few times he came in this season, I remember it was really rough, but
yeah, yeah,
he is
and I
starting to
mean,
look better.
he did have some dropped passes. Who knows how much of that's on the receiver, because even Jimmy had some. Jimmy on his first drive today had 2 passes dropped by Debo, and Jimmy doesn't throw nearly as hard um as Trey. So I don't
Yeah,
know how
definitely
much of
not.
that's like on Trey and how much of that's just like our receivers just need to like do a little bit better job. I mean, Debo's our best receiver and he dropped 2 today. So that's definitely not what you want to see. But yeah, I mean, they definitely have been playing better defensively. Minus the defensive pass interference calls. They've been without some key players in the last couple weeks. Obviously, no George Kittle, which we're hoping he can return for next week's game, and then
Yeah, boost
also,
the offense even more.
yeah,
Hopefully.
exactly, as we're starting to get on track, and also Joey Sly stepping in for Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould might be back next week. That's what we're hoping. But Sly's made some big kicks in recent weeks. He was 3 out of 4 on field goals today, but he did have a missed extra point. He also missed an extra point last week, and that's kind of been the knock on Joey Sly from Carolina, and also when he was with Houston, that that he struggled more on like shorter kicks and extra points. He's got a great leg. He hit a 52-yard field goal today. So
Sounds kind of like Chris Blewett, maybe. He can't do any of the close kicks because they get blocked. But then when it's 52
yeah,
yards, for some reason, he can make it.
yeah. Sly usually is just hitting them wide right rather than having them blocked. But
Then
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
kicking issues have definitely been a concern. But yeah, I mean, Trey Lance definitely gave us an interesting dynamic. Like I said, he had 16 carries, 89 yards rushing on those 16 carries.
Yeah.
So definitely a dynamic that we don't have with Jimmy, even though Jimmy did provide us with 2 rushing touchdowns in the game against Chicago today. It's definitely I don't think Jimmy's ever had 89 yards rushing in any game.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most he's probably ever had is probably like 50. Didn't he have like a one really long run one time for like 35 yards or something like that?
Yeah, I feel like it was something like that. I don't think it was necessarily that long, but uh, looks like Dallas is. I'm just checking, and it looks like Dallas has gone ahead 20-16.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's
Ugh.
unfortunate.
Ugh.
All right,
God.
well, anyway,
Ugh.
yeah,
Well, Debo had a monster game today.
yeah, yeah. That's one thing I wanted to mention as well is Debo's been going off, and actually through the first 7 games, he broke Jerry Rice's record for most receiving yards through 7 games with I think he's got 801 maybe right now.
819.
Oh, 819. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, Jerry Rice has had that record since 1986.
oh,
That's
nice.
a long
Okay.
time.
Yeah. And since we're always answering, the questions of Jimmy's longest run ever was 33 yards. I just wanted
Ooh, I said 35, so
to
I was
verify that. Yeah,
pretty damn
it's
close.
pretty
I
close.
knew it was something in the
Yeah.
30s. I
Yeah.
remember the run. Like I remember seeing it. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he definitely, can be elusive. Today the Bears didn't see him coming twice. I mean he got in from what one play that looked like a broken play, that was
hmm
probably supposed to be a sweep to Debo, but he ended up just taking it himself. And then the other one, which was a true read option from the 5, I think that's the one that you might have missed. They were
Yeah,
at
I
the
think it
five
is.
yard line, and he could have handed it off to Elijah Mitchell, but he just like read the defensive end, took it in himself, and got in there
I
for a
feel like
touchdown.
they sound very similar. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
they
which
they
one I
they,
missed,
they
but
both were very similar
did he
because
go to the left
they
both
both went
times?
to the left. Yeah, they both
Okay,
went to the left.
all
One
right. I
from
think
two
I saw
yards
the
and
replay of the other
yeah,
one, but I think
yeah,
I thought it was
yeah,
the play I
yeah,
actually saw.
yeah, yeah. But in other positive news, it was nice to actually see the Niners involve some of their other receivers today. I've been talking for recent weeks about how we need to go ahead and get Brandon Ayuk involved, and it's definitely time that we finally do that. And today he was more involved. Today he actually had I'm trying to like pull up the numbers on him real quick. He had 4 catches. He was targeted 7 times, caught 4 passes for 45 yards. Mohamed Sanu had 3 catches for 59 yards. So they gave Debo some help, especially with Kittle out right now because
Yeah,
Debo leads.
they all had a decent amount. I mean, the yards per catch
Yeah,
is
yeah.
pretty high.
They were busting off some chunks, and a lot of times it's just Jimmy checking down. The big one to Debo, the 84-yard screen or whatever, was definitely just a check down and a big play. But
That was the play of the game for
yeah,
sure.
a few of them, like there was one where Jimmy had forever to throw. I wanted to talk about this. Like he had forever. Like he was literally just like standing there, just like looking around. And it looked like he was going to take Elijah Mitchell, for the check down, which probably Jimmy would have a lot in the past. Just take the easy check down to the left. And then he starts throwing to the left, and I was like, he's throwing to Mitchell, and he's not. He's thrown to Ayuk, like 20 yards down the field for a first down. And I was like,
Yeah.
shit. I was like, so he took a couple deep shots in the game. So it's like, I think he's feeling good. He's feeling confident, after that shitter of a rain game, where he
Ugh,
probably couldn't get his
yeah.
footing. So that was definitely good to see. But yeah, I was definitely concerned at first today because, like I said, we went into halftime down 13-9, and Fields, who's been struggling as a passer, Justin Fields was 10 out of 12 for 88 yards and a touchdown in the first half. I mean, he had by far his best half of football as a passer to date.
Mm.
But in the second half, we ended up sacking him like 4 times. We got that game clinching interception by Josh Norman. when they took over with the ball with about 2 minutes left, and they take a deep shot, the ball gets tipped, Josh Norman picks it off to seal the game. That was really good. So definitely did some good things. No pass interference calls today. I think that's the biggest thing. Like I said,
That's always great if you can get
yeah.
that. And Elijah Mitchell, I don't know if you mentioned him. He had a really good game as well.
I
18 carries for
yeah,
137 yards
I didn't
and a
get to that
touchdown.
yet. Yeah, but I wanted to. Yeah, yeah. And he topped his previous best because last week he's had 107 yards twice. He had 107 yards against Detroit, and he had 107 yards last week against the Colts. But this week he topped that, and he's really been taking over. I mean, in the past years, and I know a lot of the Niners fans will know this that have been watching, but Kyle, I know you know this, but Kyle's always been one to like mix the backs. Remember last year when we were seeing a lot of
Yeah.
like we'd see a lot of like Tevin, we'd see a lot of like Breida in recent years, we'd see a lot of Raheem, we'd see a lot of Jermichael Hasty, we'd mix them all in there. Jeff Wilson, they'd
Hmm.
all get mixed in there. So this year it's been basically Elijah Mitchell. I mean, the only other running back that carried the ball today was Hasty, had 3 for 4 yards, and Hasty's usually like um, he's more of our J.D. McKissick. He's more of a receiving back. That's
Hmm.
why we usually have him in third down and passing situations. So Elijah Mitchell's pretty much carrying the load. Trey Sermon, our other rookie, was healthy, but he didn't even get a carry today. So
Yeah, that is weird.
yeah, usually Kyle likes to mix in the backs, but it's been the Elijah Mitchell show. So I
That
mean
worked out well.
he's been able to carry it. Yeah, he averaged 7.6 a carry.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fantastic, man.
yeah,
That's a great game.
yeah, yeah. So really good game. I mean, Jimmy had 322 on the day. He was 17 out of 28. No touchdowns, no picks, but 2 rushing touchdowns. And like the Niners finally broke through after not having any touchdowns in the first half to get 3 in the second half. So that was really good. Like I said, it was good to get Ayuk involved, you know, because
Definitely.
he's been needing a breakout, man. I mean, last year when Debo was hurt, he had like 750 yards. He was our best receiver. And
Yeah.
this year he's got 13 catches to this point through
Jeez.
7 games, including what he caught today. So we need to get him more involved. And I think that Kyle said he had his best week of practice. So I think that he's gonna start coming out more.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Because I think that'll take a little bit of pressure off Debo. Because obviously when Debo's not getting doubled, that opens him up to go like 84 yards down the field.
Yeah.
Although that sucks that wasn't actually called a touchdown. They said that he was down, but
Yeah, they stopped it. Yeah.
there were 2 really good that's what I want to mention real quick. The effort. So Debo catches this ball like 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and proceeds to outrun like everybody, like on the Niners and Chicago. Like it looked like he was gonna get caught. Like they showed him on the
It
bench
did.
afterwards, and he was like sucking air hard. He was like out of breath. He was like, "Oh my god, I was gassed." But like just the effort to get to the goal line and then like to dive out, it sucks because like they said his foot was out at like the 2, and then a couple
Yeah.
plays later Jimmy gets in on the rushing touchdown, so it was all good. But yeah, I mean that was insane. That was all effort. And then a couple drives later, Elijah Mitchell, he gets the ball, and then they hand it off to him at the 5. He gets contacted at the 4, and I think you probably remember this, pushes the
He
entire
pushes the
pile
entire
from the
yeah,
4
yeah, yeah,
into the
yeah.
goal line, and then you see
Yeah.
Jimmy at the end just running, like push him
Just
into the
touches
end
the
zone.
back
Yeah,
like real. It was real
yeah,
light too. He
yeah,
just
yeah.
barely.
Jimmy just putting in the, like, football's a game of inches. Jimmy just inching the way in. That's all they needed. But yeah, but that was great effort by Elijah Mitchell. Like my God, that's what you
Yeah,
need when you're trying to end a 4-game losing streak. You need effort plays like that, and that's what we saw today. It was really
absolutely.
good to see, and I'm hoping that we can continue because we've got Arizona next week again in the rematch. This time it will be Jimmy starting. Trey started last time when we lost 17-10, and I thought we
It'll
could
be a
have beaten
win.
them. I thought we could have beaten them. I thought that we gave Arizona, other than Green Bay, you know, nobody had held them under 30 points until Green Bay held them to 21 the other night. But we held them to 17 points. That's the lowest they've been
Yeah,
held to all season.
That is good. It's
Yeah.
really good.
I mean, and the offense, like, I know everybody loves Trey, and Trey's going to be great. We didn't see any of them today, even though he was healthy and the backup. Maybe we'll see some of them next week because he did run for 89 yards against Arizona. But I know everybody loves Trey, but you can't deny that the offense does move a little bit smoother with Jimmy in there. Like, we're a lot more effective. I mean, we're always getting a lot more yards, usually getting a lot more points. I mean,
I would agree.
yeah. So like right now, I think, I was surprised we didn't see Trey today, but I thought we'd see him in some packages, especially against Chicago's pretty good defense. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, maybe next week we'll see both of them, but hopefully we can get that win and hang more up than 10 points up against them because yeah, it would have really been nice to have, cost them their first loss of the season rather than, I mean, good on Green Bay, but it would have been cool if we could have
It
done it.
would have been it would have been better. Yeah, I mean, just
Yeah.
in the same division, and but yeah,
Yeah. And then in closing, I just want to mention, the Niners defense, in addition to Washington's today getting 4 sacks, two of which coming from Nick Bosa, which brings his total on the season to 7. So he's definitely seems like he's back from the ACL. So he's having an awesome season. And yeah, hopefully he gets after Kyler Murray next week and we can get a win. But that's all we have for the Niners news update of the week for the week. And check back with us next week. And that's our show for tonight. If you liked what you saw, make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you have any other friends that are football fans, make sure you tell them about it and have them check out the show. But have a good night, everybody, and we'll catch up with you next week.
see you next week.
The recapping more football and all that happens between now and then. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good night.